welcome to Newsline. I'm Nadia Wu.
And I'm Chloe Ostreich. On today's programme, why is Australia putting so much time and energy into searching for missing flight MH370? And Chinese students in Australia, how much intellectual freedom do they actually have?
But first to city traffic, and cars could be banned in key areas of Melbourne's CBD as part of a strategy to turn Melbourne into a pedestrian haven. The new measures are part of the City of Melbourne's draft walking plan and propose new pedestrian crossings and reduced speed limits. Key streets include sections of Flinders Lane, Chinatown on Little Bourke Street and Little Collins Street. Piazzas outside the Princess Theatre and Flinders Street Station will also be considered, as well as an iconic public space near the old Suncorp building on Collins Street. The measures will be considered by Melbourne City councillors next week.
The Australian operation searching for the missing Malaysian flight MH370 has given up on its original search zone in the southern Indian Ocean. This comes after news that pings thought to have come from the doomed plane's black box were not, after all, from the flight. With the cost of searching estimated at least $1 million a day, the question arises, has it all been a massive waste of time and money on Australia's behalf? Newsline took to the streets to gauge public opinion.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. It could be more objective. I think they should try to rescue the people, but they should think smarter.
We've got a lot of problems going on here, so it's kind of looking both ways. We need to look for the plane, but we also need to look at our own country.
The money should be spent on making sure that the education in Australian society stays the same and doesn't turn into America. Being an American myself, I have $250,000 in student loans. That's something that you as a society should not want your children to have.
Within a month we still can't really find it, then we probably should stop, because maybe really UFO have taken it.
I just think about the families who are missing their loved ones, and right now they have no clue where they are, and just for that closure, I think it should continue.
It's a tragedy, and my heart goes out to the family whose loved ones are lost.
I think there's always hope. You should always have hope.
A tragic but expensive operation. More news now with Christy Sullivan. And Christy, there's been another shocking gang rape in India.
Yes, Nadia. In India, 5 men have gang raped 2 teenage girls who then hanged themselves from a tree. One man has already been arrested and police are searching for the other suspects. Hundreds of villagers staged the mass protests surrounding the victims' bodies, outraged that the police did not act sooner when the girls were first reported as missing. India is now facing its worst sexual violence rates, despite the attempts to tighten its anti-rape laws after the fatal gang rape of a student in December 2012. Back home, and the Australian Federal Police are investigating 8,000 cases of multiple voting during last year's federal election. According to the Australian Electoral Commission, 2,000 people gave explanations which included being drunk, confused or trying to test the voting system. The remaining 6,000 have not given any reason for voting more than once. This is not the first time the AEC has come under scrutiny, with 1,400 ballots lost during a vote recount in the West Australian Senate election last year.
Thanks, Christy. Australian universities are meant to thrive on the free exchange of information, ideas and opinions. But in this global stage, are all students treated the same? While China allows its citizens to study in Australia, there are serious questions about the intellectual freedom these students are allowed to enjoy. Lincoln Dool reports.
90,000 students from China provide a huge chunk of revenue for Australia's tertiary sector. Yet serious questions have been raised concerning the freedom of these students to speak their mind. Recent reporting has shed light on the existence of a vast network of secret monitoring, keeping tabs on what students from China do, what they say, what they think, and operating at some of our most prestigious tertiary institutions. John Garneau, former China correspondent, understands better than most what motivates the paranoid Chinese regime.
Look, they are swimming against the tide on this one, but they're very good swimmers. One of the most intriguing things I think of politics anywhere is how under Xi Jinping they've redoubled their efforts at propaganda, censorship, ideological control.
The Communist Party has funneled many resources into student organisations which can be mobilised to promote Beijing's political agenda. like in 2008, when thousands of Chinese students were transported to Canberra to support the passage of the Olympic torch in the face of strong protests. Alongside visible student organisations exists a secret network of amateur surveillance. If students speak negatively about China in the classroom, there could be repercussions at home. China's unique national characteristics are often used in its defence.
I do have sympathy on the Chinese government. With 1/5 of the entire world population, there's a limited space for liberty and freedom than we could imagine. So we'll have to be patient with China.
Given the desire for a close embrace with China during the Asian century, this serves as a reminder that our core values still differ greatly. Lincoln Dorr, Newsline.
Now to business news, and Westfield has been paying less than its fair share of corporate tax, Jemima.
Yes, Nadia, the shopping centre giant has avoided the standard corporate tax rate of 30%, paying just 8% over the last 9 years. We should all be so lucky. A report by the University of Technology Sydney found the company could have paid an extra $2.6 billion had it been paying the standard rate. Westfield has used a legal tax loophole to sidestep the extra tax, prompting calls for the system to be reformed. And Australia's fifth largest bank, Suncorp, is tightening its lending criteria, with customers now needing a deposit of at least 20% to get a home loan. Chief Executive John Nesbitt says the bank is focusing on mortgages with a loan-to-loan valuation of less than 80%. He says in order to prepare for an inevitable interest rate, banks need to be careful and lend responsibly. And that's business. And after the break, Tom Downey has the latest in sport, and Samantha Winicky reports on the booming drag queen industry.